Hi everyone, and welcome again to my audiovisual channel. My name is Gabriela Handal if you're new, and I'm a draftsman, and this video is not about art today. I want to do an update video about the whole meat eating thing, and I have written down some notes of things that I want to cover, and hopefully it's helpful and interesting. Yes, so I'm gonna try to go slow so that I cover everything that I want to cover instead of being self-conscious about how long it's taking and saying piquant things. So, alright, it's been about a year. I estimate that I started around mid-November last year, and it's mid-November this year, so it's been about a year. I've kept pretty good journal tippy typing stuff on my computer, just keeping track more or less of how I feel and what I've been eating, this type of stuff. And alright, so I'm gonna go over my notes and just cover kind of things that I have in my notes. So alright, one question that somebody asked me that I thought was really, really good is when did I learn about this way of eating versus when did I start? Because, so that person to whom, of course, I'm like, yeah, you gotta, not that you have to, because I haven't strictly told anyone that they should. I have told, like, one person that they should try it. But typically I'm not like, you should totally try it, or, alright, I guess I might be like, it's worth trying, or something like that. But more often what I do is just kind of gush about how good it makes me feel, or how different it feels in general compared to the way that I felt before, and how before there were things that I was feeling that I didn't know were negative. I just took them for granted, and basically meaning I kind of took them as just par for the course. But I'm speculating that I heard about it maybe a year before I started, and I think it might have been through Jordan Peterson or his daughter Michaela Peterson. And then I just listened to a bunch of podcast episodes on the subject, and read a little bit. Not as much reading though, definitely lots of podcasts. And that was mostly like the research. And then, I was still kind of conducting my own experiments on my own dietary experiments, as I've mentioned, where I tried other things like removing dairy, removing coffee, removing grains and seeds and this type of stuff. And so I suppose that in a way that was sort of a transitional thing that was helpful. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, the very previous thing that I did before actually going carnivore or animal based was a month, just over a month, maybe a month and 2 weeks or a week or something, of all meat and fruit. There might have been dairy and eggs involved. I guess in terms of dairy, I don't really drink that much milk as an adult. I used to when I had cereal, which I like a lot, but otherwise I don't really drink milk as a beverage, Alright. So Yes, about a year. And then, yeah, so I brought the fruit and meat up because I think that was really helpful, and it makes me think of a conversation with Tammy Peterson that I heard, that I listened to, where she talks about her own transition, which was really more like 20 years. She said something like that. And that kind of sounds like, in a way, like what I've been doing, sort of, with like exercise and movement, and maybe to a lesser degree with eating, but maybe a little bit with eating. I've always known that I have to reduce my sugar ingestion. But yeah, so I mean, I guess I mentioned that in particular because like that transition stuff kind of was very helpful for me. I think, because I don't know if I would have been able to do it otherwise. The previous month I did all meat and fruit, and then the month after I started meat, all meat, dairy, and eggs. And then a few months, I don't know how many months, like maybe 2 months and a half, or maybe, I don't know how long, but the thing is that I then after removed dairy and poultry and pork and eggs, and then did beef only for several months, and that was pretty good. Okay, so that's variations of food, I suppose. And then reintroductions more recently, and I don't remember exactly when, but it was maybe 2 months ago, I guess, I'm estimating. 2 months or 2 months and a half, I reintroduced, or I tried, coffee and heavy cream. The heavy cream specifically, and well, really for all dairy, when I get it, I try to find dairy that doesn't have any additives, like gel and gum, or added vitamin D, or this type of stuff. And I have pending to try raw dairy, but, none of those things are really that easily accessible. Anyway, the thing is that I tried coffee and heavy cream, and that was delicious, and nothing happened afterwards, which is great. So that's cool. I don't have either one really that often. The heavy cream, because at the regular grocery store I haven't found any heavy cream that doesn't have gums or stabilizers. But when I can find it, I have found it at Whole Foods, and I get it then. And coffee, I typically have a slightly fancier sort of coffee that my husband gets, but I don't have that every day. And it's, it's nice to note that nothing has happened. And another addition I've done is carefully chosen chocolate. So chocolate with really high cocoa content, or cacao, I don't know what the official way of saying that is, but chocolate with really high cocoa content, and no lecithins, and just nothing else other than fat, cocoa, and a sweetener that isn't ridiculous. So cane sugar, or something that essentially came from a plant. But I guess that would include things like stevia or something, but I haven't done that because I'm not convinced by stevia. So I've only had chocolate with cane sugar, and chocolate liqueur also. And upon doing so, nothing happened either. But I noted, because I've tried chocolate that was sweetened only with cane sugar, cacao butter, and the cocoa. And another chocolate, like the next week, I tried another one which had chocolate liqueur in it, and I thought it was very interesting that I was able to tell the difference between these two, even though it was a week apart. And I make note of that because before, in the past, that was not possible. It didn't happen. My sense of taste, my sense of taste was just not as refined as it is now. And it's not like ridiculously refined or anything, but I think it's still worthy of note that I can tell that it was a different chocolate from one week to the next. That one had chocolate liqueur, like the smell and everything. And I'm not strictly attributing that to the way that I've been eating. I mean, I think in part it has to do because it's like if you don't have sugar for a really long time, then, it makes sense that one would be more sensitive to perceiving it when it's there. But I guess I'm talking more about kind of like that delicate difference between a chocolate having just cane sugar versus having cane sugar and chocolate liqueur. I just feel like I would not have been able to tell that difference before, and it kind of makes me appreciate more the thing that I'm eating. Anyway. The whole more refined palate, I think, also has something to do with the other changes that I've done, the other dietary changes, like maybe like not having grains, and kind of learning from my husband as well, because he has a very refined palate and he's really, really good at seasoning things. And when I eat food that he has seasoned, it's just really cool to experience the layering of the seasoning that he has like orchestrated, because one thing comes through and then one other thing comes through and so that's really cool. And I'm not sure that I would have been able to appreciate that in the past. I don't remember doing it. In the past, I thought it was, I made jokes about how I was just like, yeah, sweet and salty and that's it. Yes. Okay. Alright, so I have also tried eggs, bacon, and chicken, and I'm not particularly crazy about the chicken or the eggs, and it's pretty interesting to compare the way that I feel about those things now after a while of not having them, that it's like now I have made them available to myself and I'm like, I don't know. Like the things that I'm really, really crazy about are much diminished, and I guess I wonder what that says about, I don't know, food in general. Anyway, so, out of those three, eggs, chicken, and bacon, the one that I actually like is bacon, and I still haven't had that, I still don't have it really that often. Like, I'm not losing my shit to have it, but I still like it. And I'll have a slice sometimes, or sometimes I will actually make some for myself. Or if I'm feeling a little bit tired of the beef that I have, because that happens, then I will make myself some bacon and mix it with the beef in order to have it. For chicken, I did not like the way the muscle felt in my mouth at all. I still have pending to make chicken wings, because I want to try to make the damn chicken wings and see, and that'll be the real determinant, I think, of whether I end up having chicken or not. We had duck recently. We made duck confit. I liked that a lot. We're gonna have that more often. Duck is awesome. And for a little while, like 2 or 3 weeks, I think, I don't know, like a week and a half ago, 2-3 weeks before that, I was having half and half with cocoa, having a hot cocoa and some cinnamon, no sugar or anything, and it was really, really fucking good. But so the half and half was store-bought, and even though the ingredients say just milk and cream, it's like a store brand. Not a store brand, but it's just like a popular brand that I have a hard time believing there's only milk and cream in there, because the same brand's milk and the same brand's cream have other shit added to it. So like there's no way that when they mix their milk and cream it doesn't have those additives, So anyway, all that to say that the half and half, I'm pretty sure was giving me the shits. And it wasn't immediate, it was kind of slow building. And when I tested the first time the half and half, if I had more than a certain amount, I would get kind of farty and gassy. And I think it's because of the milk. Because, as far as I know, I'm not lactose intolerant, but when I tried it the first time, with the reintroductions, the recent reintroductions, it was delicious and everything, and nothing happened, in particular, nothing of note, not that I remember anyway. But after having a certain amount, like more than a glass, I was getting farty and gassy. And kind of like, bubbly, grumbly in my stomach. Which I don't like. And, I don't really lose my shit over milk anyway. But, I think after having a certain amount of half and half, like that presence of milk maybe accumulates. I don't know. So yeah, possible accumulative effects of reintroductions. And I think that's the case with the half and half. Alright, give me a second to see if I... And also, I was having an issue, like I was having a slightly harder time falling asleep, and then when I wake up at night, because I still wake up at night once, I was having a slightly harder time falling asleep again, and I think that might have had something to do with maybe the half and half. Or maybe I was having coffee too often. Not too often, but just like a few days in a row or something like that. Because again, it's like the accumulation of whatever it is, And I'm just speculating. I recently stopped drinking the half and half. And my stool is normal and my bowel movement is normal again. And before that it was normal as well. It's been normal and very good for a good while now. And... Alright, give me a second. Okay. Actually, another accumulative effect of reintroduction of chocolate leads to the next point that I want to talk about in my notes, which is carbohydrate and sugar addiction. And the reason for that is because obviously chocolate has sugar, and when I was only having beef, and soon after I started having just all the meat, dairy, and eggs, the sugar cravings became very, very quiet and forgettable. And I wasn't thinking about it all the time, as was the case before, because before I would think about it just like all the time. I would be in the middle of doing something and I would get a craving and I would be like, oh, I really kind of feel like having something sweet, and what do we have? And oh, but have it later, just wait a little bit, like that occupies time in your mind. So I wasn't having this problem anymore. It was very fleeting. It would last just like a few seconds. It was very forgettable. I would think like almost with just like a mild curiosity, like I kind of want something sweet. And then sometimes I would think, well, maybe I'll try to get a chocolate next week. And then, when I do the groceries, and then by that time, of course, I have forgotten. And a few seconds later, I have forgotten about the thought or the desire. And upon reintroducing chocolate, it has indeed happened that the cravings are, because, again, they have not gone away, but they're they were very quiet, and the pitch became just a teeny tiny bit louder. And I just think it's interesting. I mean, I consider that, I think that counts as a cumulative effect. And so this week I'm trying to, I did not get chocolate for myself with the groceries. And I remembered that when I had the cravings before, I would have fizzy water, which I haven't been having. So that's what I'm doing now, to kind of put them back in their place in a way. But I think that's a very real thing. And I read somewhere, or I've heard, like the famous meat eating people here and there, that the addiction to carbohydrate is, so carbohydrate like just turns into sugar in the body. So whether you're having things that taste sweet or things that become sugar in your body, so alcohol or carbohydrate, it like still sort of sustains the body's desire for sugar. So like something doesn't have to be sweet for you to know, for your body to know that it will give it sugar, something like that. So reintroducing the chocolate is, it's cool that I don't seem to be reacting to it, in a negative way, other than with cravings. But I just think it's interesting, like that relationship between, the fact that I can notice that the cravings are just like a little bit more, like asking a little bit harder. And, I never was good at ignoring them. I just didn't deal with them because I just gave in to them. And so, what I was doing when I reintroduced the chocolate, I was like, because I was enjoying the chocolate, I didn't have like the entire bag of chocolate chips, like when you get it, or the entire chocolate bar or anything. I could have like a few bites, and then I was like, all right, that's it. That would never have happened before, like a chocolate bar lasting several days, or a bag of chocolate chips lasting several days or the entire week. Never happened. But I definitely was kind of like, I want something sweet. Go get the chocolate and try not to feel bad about it, but then it's still like an unnecessary reintroduction. Not reintroduction, it's like unnecessary food, kind of. And it does have the added negative of the just kind of coddling the cravings, I read of a person, or I heard in her podcast, about how when she had just started, she was doing animal-based, doing all meat, dairy, and eggs, but she kept drinking like diet sodas, and she said that she was still having really bad cravings, and like on Reddit or something, they told her like get rid of the diet soda because like the sensation and the kind of like the habit, like the psychological habit, just like because they're not separate necessarily, they take part together in the making of the cravings. It was like coddling the desire for them, all right. So yeah, I am more vulnerable, quote unquote, to the cravings, and I've actually had a total of 2 very small setbacks. Not setbacks, but just when I had something that was actually like sweet. That has happened, and it's more prone to happening when I get a little bit bored of the meat or just tired of it that I'm having at the time. And so one setback, or one of the small failures, I guess, I don't know what to call it, was I was making carrot cake for my husband. The carrot cake is my mom's recipe, and I love the hell out of that cake. All right, and my mom used to make it, and I have like all of these psychological associations with it, and I ended up having like half a teaspoon of the batter, And that was one. And then the other one was that I was making oatmeal chocolate cookies for my husband, and I got the same sort of chocolate that's doesn't have lecithins, but it's much sweeter, so I had a bunch of that, and like, I don't know, a small handful, I don't know, 2 tablespoons, as I'm going by the serving or something. But anyway, yeah. And that tends to happen when I am a little bit hungry, come dinner time or breakfast or whatever it is during the day, and I kind of don't want to have the meat that I've gotten for myself because I'm a little tired of it, or it's not as delicious as another meat that I like. Not sure how that works, but it's definitely been like kind of waves of stuff that I'm into, because I really, really used to be into the beef cracklings that I used to make, that I still make, where they would be gone by the weekend. So like, I do groceries and make that stuff on Monday typically, and then come the weekend, stuff is gone, so then the beef cracklings would be gone by, I don't know, Thursday or Friday or something, and now it's like I have them accumulating in the freezer, which is where I keep them. And when they were fresh, I would have a lot of the beef cracklings, to the point where, like, because the grease is warm, it would, like, it's melted. And if you've read a bit, I don't know, on Reddit, it's like cold fat is easier for whatever reason to kind of keep inside, or just solid something, than when it's melted. So like, if you have too much melted fat, it'll give you the shits, or like it'll not the shits, but it'll give you loose stools. And if you have the hard fat, like butter when it's cold and beef tallow when it's cold or room temperature, your stool will be normal. You can still overdo it, but it will, you can handle more. I don't know how that works. So yeah. And for example, for another while, I was really into London broil, and I would just sear it like steak, and it was fucking delicious at the time. And for a while, I was really into Michaela Peterson's recipe for crispy things, or crunchy bits. I don't know what the official name is. But yeah, those things have kind of come and gone. I'm really fucking into just the jerky that I make right now, and like dipped in tallow, as if the jerky piece was a chip, and then the tallow is like dip. It's really good. I don't know how that works, but anyway, the moments of vulnerability sort of come when I'm a little bit tired of that specific meat, which, I don't know. At the same time, I kind of don't want to eat other things, Yes. So also on the addiction note, I guess. So on Reddit, on the zero carb Reddit, so it's zero carb, just one word, all lowercase, no underscores or anything. So it's r/zero carb, I think. They have a pretty good section of resources to read. And they strongly recommend reading The Bear's Words of Wisdom. And the bear was an actual guy, and that's an unbelievably stupid nickname, but whatever. The thing is that he talks a lot about how eating and food is really cultural and social, and it is, because it's always been, so that's but it has become really polluted with all the carbohydrates and like all of the pomp and elaboration of making food and stuff, and we take for granted or don't take seriously the addiction to carbohydrate and sugar. I mean, sugar is a carbohydrate, and it's difficult for an individual who is like skeptical or doesn't, or is maybe like afraid of trying it, eating only meat and this type of stuff, or a person who just opposes eating this way completely, because it's just like so harebrained, or it's so crazy, it's impossible, you're gonna die, or this type of stuff. But the inculturation, the cultural indoctrination, I don't know. is really difficult to contend with, and it's difficult. And the addiction, because in that case, then that makes it twofold, because it's psychological with the culture part, and like all of your customs, all of your habits, your eating, your food habits. But then it's also physical, because it's a physical addiction as well. But then, one might think like, oh, I'm an adult. It's like nobody is making me eat anything. Nobody is making me. It's like if I wanted to eat whatever else, I totally would, this type of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, the addiction is introduced when we're kids, infants and babies, by our parents, because they just, they're doing whatever parents will, which is hopefully whatever they consider to be the best for their kid. And then, one learns and imitates those habits. And then by the time that you're kind of like a independent adult, quote unquote, it's like you're already hopelessly addicted. One is already hopelessly addicted to the things, and it's very difficult to kind of even admit that it's an addiction, and then to think of how cumbersome it is to take the step of getting rid of that. I don't know. It's like I don't blame somebody who doesn't want to do it, or the skepticism. I mean, I do a little bit, but it's for sure difficult. It's like again to the first thing that I was talking about. It's like, when did I learn about it versus when I started doing it? It's like I hesitated so very much because I knew that not having sugar was going to be a problem, or rather I was scared that it would be a problem. So addiction is introduced throughout individuals' upbringing and then reinforced by continued willing consumption, propaganda, conventional health, quote-unquote knowledge. That was my note. So I wanted to mention some other benefits that I have experienced that I forgot to mention in the previous video that I continue to experience. And number one is no post-nasal drip. I used to have post-nasal drip that I used to address with neti pot, which was very helpful for that. And it took me a while to notice, and then because of that, I kept forgetting to mention it. That I don't have post-nasal drip anymore. And post-nasal drip is just kind of the feeling that you have like mucus in the back of your throat. And I don't know about other people, but what I used to do is like snort back. I didn't have a cold or anything. I just had like that sensation in the back of my throat. But I don't have that anymore. I don't have joint pain, which I had completely mysterious joint pain before. Like my elbows were weird. They would hurt like kind of out here on the lateral kind of part where they bend, where the condyles meet. Sort of like to the touch. When I touched them, they would hurt. And in certain positions, like for example, if I was drawing like this with my elbow bent and then I stretched and then I extended my arm, that hurt a lot. And I remember that for a while I was icing them every day. And it was during that time that I read the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhoods by Holman Hunt, like the kind of like the biography of the movement, of the foundation of the movement that he wrote. So I was doing that for a while. So the icing didn't do shit. And I tried different things with exercise and moving and just like, experimenting and trying to do things that I didn't usually do and whatever. But it went away sometime after. I don't know how long after, because I don't know. After eating all the meat stuff. My back was like, I didn't strictly have back pain, but it was kind of sore, like in the mornings, and I wasn't able to back bend as much, and now I can. And I mean, of course it's a mixture of like that feeling sore and not practicing it enough, but then I didn't practice it enough because I was also sore, and I didn't want to like piss off my back, Though now I don't have the soreness, and I try to move in different ways to kind of convince it to bend back more. But anyway, the thing is that I don't have that soreness that I had all the time. It was kind of, I didn't care for it, And the other things that I think I did mention are like the mental things. It's easier to make decisions. I have a clearer mind. I'm not as indecisive as I was before, not as hesitant. I still am. I'm still anxious and all of these things, but less than I was before. So it's kind of like easier to think long term, and I'm not sure that I completely attribute that to eating this way, because I was like actively trying to sort of calm the fuck down, because that's of course also brought on by stress, So I, with journaling and just like writing what was bothering me, and talking about it with my husband, and like I was doing an exercise, I would practice, and sometimes I still do an exercise of, if I was having like looping negative thoughts, meaning that's the negative thought that just repeats itself or something and it doesn't go anywhere, I would try to think about what any positive thing that I am grateful for, something like that. So then that was the exercise, and that was really good. It's very helpful. So I still good at focusing. I'm still, the ability to focus better on things is like still there. That's good. So that's awesome. All right. My seborrheic, dermatitis, and dandruff are still there. I haven't gone anywhere. So, or maybe I'm not paying attention and it's a little bit different. I don't know. The thing is that I'm still flaky, crusty, and dandruffy, and I hate it. And occasionally itchy. So I'm continuing to eat this way because I happen to like it, and I'm instead looking at other environmental things. Like at the time that I did the video, I was trying filtered water, and I liked that, and I noticed a difference in the flavor, which again, I think that's interesting. I did it for 3 months because that's how long the filter lasts. I don't know if I'm gonna, I want to try it again just to like take note again of if anything happens, and maybe even do it for longer, because maybe the exposure to some things has to be removed for a long period of time. Because it's like, if you've been exposed to something for years and years, and I've been here in this country for 10 years, so if I've been exposed to something for 10 years, removing it for 3 months might not do anything, or might not be obvious if the cause is there. So anyway, I definitely want to try the filtered water again. But I'm looking at other environmental things. Like I'm trying to clean up the place little by little, because there's things that just didn't occur to me, like the door frames, window frames. Like there's this teeny tiny little ledges everywhere that have dust from I don't know how many years ago. I certainly never cleaned those because it didn't even occur to me that it could be a problem. So I'm trying to address those things before considering other things like mold, which I keep hearing about, probably because Michaela Peterson started talking about it, and her conversation with Dr. Judy Cho was like crazy. And I started following other things just to kind of, so that I don't forget that I have to clean first. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. There's other things that I've heard other famous meat people say, which haven't, that they purport to have experienced, like better vision and crazy libido and not getting tired, this type of stuff. Not sure I want to drop names. Libido for me has just kind of stayed the same, and then there's other things that I've been trying to do regarding that, so I don't strictly attribute any change that has happened to eating this way, but it has stayed the same. Like, it's like typically I read guys being like, I'm so horny all the time, which is normal for men because that means they're healthy. The not getting tired part, the person who talked about this is a famous meat guy, and one time I heard him saying that he just was not getting tired, he didn't get sore, but then in another occasion I heard him explaining that what he was doing was that in between sets he was taking a good rest or something, and I was like, of course you're not going to get tired like that, you know? So I don't know. I think, for regular weightlifting and moving, I can't say that I notice a really big difference when it comes to resistance. The time when I have noticed an actual difference is when I do cardiovascular work. I get a little bit less tired, but then it also depends on whether I've been anxious or not, because if I'm anxious and my heart is beating really fast, then I will get tired faster, just like normal. So there's that. I just think that sometimes the famous meat people exaggerate a little bit things, because I kind of get it, like you don't want to make all of your effort that you're doing kind of look undermined by this apparent defect in the whole thing. But it's definitely, no one thing is like a miracle cure for everything else. Because, of course, there's the physical aspect and, like, the psychological aspect and the environmental aspect and your relationships and just what are your thoughts? What are you thinking about? What are you ingesting informationally and stuff? So, but yeah. Yes. The thing is that I still have dry eyes, I still have floaters in my eyes, I still have seborrheic dermatitis, I still have a little bit of anxiety. But I'm not as prone to negative emotion as I was before, or I seem to have an easier time like dealing with it. Yeah, I think so. That's the report so far, or update a year later. Let me know. I would like to know what your experience has been if you have been trying this. What do you think about cultural and physical food addiction? Have you made any reintroductions? What specifically do you eat? What do you call the way that you eat? Because I call it animal-based, even though Saladino, like, I was watching one of his reels the other day and he's holding up like a freaking honey or whatever, some avocado thing, and he's like, this is animal-based. And it's like, no, it's not, you stupid idiot. Whatever. So I call it animal-based. Kind of, I like the term animal-based because I think carnivore sounds like a wannabe metal band name or something. So I like animal-based because it sounds more neutral. And, a vegan calls themselves plant-based because they only eat plants. So then if you only eat animals and animal products, it makes a lot of sense to use the term animal-based. Whatever. What term do you use, and what do you think about these ridiculous terms? What kind of experience have you had? What kind of benefits have you experienced eating this way, if you have been eating this way? Have you made any reintroductions? Did I already ask that? What are things that, what was the original intent of trying to eat this way versus what has actually happened? Let me know in the comments the answer to all of these questions. I'm curious, and let's talk about it. Thank you very much for listening, and have a fantastic day. And watching and reading, because I've been adding subtitles.